Welcome back. As you know, I'm Eli, the computer guy, here for the Daily Blob, where we ask the question, when did MAGA go full Marxist? I thought the Republicans were like against socialism and communism. I thought they spit on the Marxists, and yet they seem to be very Marxist. It's weird. We live in a weird timeline. I've talked about this before. Have you ever actually read the Communist Manifesto from Karl Marx? It's an interesting read. And one of the reasons why it's such an interesting read is if you correlate a lot of the things said in the Communist Manifesto, it really sounds like the Christian right in the United States. And I'm not being a snarky asshole on that. I might be being an asshole on it, but I'm not being a snarky one, gosh darn it. In here, they talk about the inherent value of the sexes, that there's a value to womanhood. I'm not shitting you, it does. That there's a value to womanhood, that there's a value to manhood, and that capitalism tries to destroy the inherent value of the different sexes. It literally says that in the Communist Manifesto. It talks about the consolidation of power, that with cities and with money and all of that kind of thing, that political power consolidates in the cities, even when there might be a large population in the rural areas. It talks about that. Here. I'm just saying, dear Christian right, have you ever thought you might actually be Marxist? I will just put this on the table for you to read. I don't know, maybe if you called it something else, maybe if you called this like the Jesus Manifesto, the Christian right would be all over it. But no, apparently because it's called the Communist Manifesto, it's evil until you read it. And then you're like, huh, sounds like the Christian right. I don't know, it's just funny how that goes. But anyways, I don't know, we're in this weird world. We are in this bizarre world. Because people will not shut up, right? The fucking right-wingers out there, the Republicans, they will not shut up about socialism. Can't have socialism, can't have socialism. Socialism is evil. Oh, you want to be able to be treated for a heart attack and not worry about being bankrupt? That's the kind of socialist piece of crap that you are. But the weird thing is, we're in Trump's MAGA America now. And, you know, I don't know. I can't make this stuff up. People are like, Eli, why do you keep talking about this? Look, you know, Honda literally about a month ago launched a reusable rocket. Honda might literally be a competitor to SpaceX in the next decade. That's a real thing. I want to talk about that. But then Trump does 5 things that are actually more important to the tech world. The Kuiper constellation from Amazon or Bezos, however the hell that works out, that's being launched. That's going into service. That's going to be a competitor to Starlink. I wanted to talk about that. Trump did something else, right? There's actually a lot of really cool, like there's these world models. Have you heard of the AI world models so that robots understand the world? I wanted to talk about the AI world models, but then Trump did something else. And you're like, well, you don't have to talk about Trump. But the thing is, you kind of do, because this is going to be what is going to be massively significant for our industry and for our careers and all of that. He is literally destroying the fundamental business concepts we thought our society was built on. And so that's an important thing. As I've talked about before, the whole idea of the stack. What stack should you build on? Should you build on the AI, the China AI stack, or the U.S. AI stack? And as an American, I gotta say, I don't know. Tell me about that China. I'll take that General So's AI. Anyways, so this is the latest thing. This is the latest thing. I just got a riff to just let it off. It's my brain can't handle this stuff. Like it doesn't. But you're like, but no, but that's not what we do. right? Like with tariffs, like again, you got the Republicans, you got the Democrats, and tariffs, right? But anyways, the Congress, the legislature is supposed to create the tariffs, and then the executive is supposed to enforce the tariffs. You know, I'm a pretty anti-tariff person by and large, but you're like, well, I mean, the government does have the right to implement tariffs, and so they implement tariffs, even if I disagree with it. I mean, they have the right to deal with it, right? Elections have consequences. Remember when Obama said that? Remember when the Democrats were really fucking cocky and they said stupid shit like elections have consequences? Yeah, I remember those days. Anyways, right, so, you know, okay, the legislature puts through these tariffs. I don't agree with the tariffs, but elections have consequences, so the next election will come up. And you're like, okay, right, I disagree, but that's part of our system. And then like Trump comes in and he uses emergency tariffs. And you're like, I didn't think he had that power. He doesn't have that authority. And then you go through and you look at it, it's like, well, kind of, sort of. If you squint in the right way, he does maybe have the authority. And if Congress did what the hell they were supposed to do, then, you know, that would be dealt with. But Republicans have decided they don't they don't want to do their jobs. I don't understand. Right now, Texas is redistricting so more Republicans can get into office and be fucking welfare queens. Right? This is the world I don't understand. When did the Republicans decide to be welfare queens? Texas wants more Congress people in office, Republican Congress people in office, to not do a good goddamn thing. Right? They're all just sitting there fucking twiddling their goddamn thumbs, getting paychecks. Fucking welfare queen. Not only are the Republicans welfare queens, the Republicans are trying to get more of their own to be welfare queens. So anyways, right, you're like, look, if the Republicans actually want to do a fucking day's worth of work as politicians, then Trump would be reined in. And so, you know, we've also got the judicial. Maybe this will go through the judges. So it's ugly, and I don't think it should be able to happen, but I don't know, maybe. But then we start getting things like where he's just taking the bribe. He just wants his palms greased, right? With AMD and Nvidia right now, where he wants 15%. Oh, you want to sell to China? Well, you gotta make sure it's worth it to me. It's worth it to me in a free fucking country. Right? Trump is saying in a free country, you have to make it worth it to me to have the freedom to sell your product. Right? These are the fucking Republicans right now. I don't want to hear shit out of the fucking Republicans for another goddamn fucking decade. Right? The Republicans have proven what they actually give a fuck about. They're little fucking prissy ass welfare fucking queens in Congress, fucking pissing over themselves, pretending to be alpha dogs, making sure they get their fucking bribes so that we can have freedom. Well, if you want freedom, you gotta pay us for it, because that's what the fuck we fought the British over. Be clear, I'm not really sure what we fought the British over. Don't look into history too much. Anyway, so then you're like, what? And now, on top of all this, again, this is what the Republicans support. This is what the piss ant fucking poodles in Congress fucking support, right? From CNBC and other places, and this shit is real. This shit is fucking real. This shit is fucking Marxist. This is fucking Trump's MAGA Marxist fucking America. No wonder he wants to meet with Putin today, so he can understand how to properly do what he's doing. USA, fucking USSR 2.0, apparently, in Trump's America. Intel stock climbs 7% on report Trump administration is considering stake in chipmaker. So the Trump administration is looking to purchase a chunk of Intel. Yep. So the Trump administration is going to own a chunk of equity in Intel, in a private fucking company, tech company, on top of everything else that is currently going on. right? Because he has to control everything. Intel shares rose 7%, because that's a stock market we have nowadays. Oh, you're gonna be Marxist? Okay, you're gonna try to nationalize Intel? Oh, sounds good. Because remember, right, and the thing you have to understand about Trump, you're like, oh, Eli, no. Trump believes he has the right to argue over the recipe of fucking Coca-Cola. He proudly told the world he was arguing over the recipe of Coke. This is how much power the senile, sniveling mafia boss of a president believes he should have in the United States. If this guy thinks he should be able to argue about the recipe of Coca-Cola and they get equity in Intel, I don't know. Do you believe this is going to go well? Can you imagine Lutnick? Can you imagine Lutnick telling Intel what they should do? Lutnick out there? Intel shares rose 7% on Thursday after Bloomberg reported that the Trump administration is in talks with the chip maker to have the U.S. government take a stake in the struggling company. So take equity. This is not loans. This is not grants. This is not the CHIPS Act. The Trump administration will take an equity stake in Intel. Intel is the only U.S. company with the capability to manufacture the fastest chips on the U.S. shores, although rivals including TSMC and Samsung also have U.S. factories. President Donald Trump has called for more chips and high technology to be manufactured in the U.S. The government stake would help fund factories that Intel is currently building in Ohio, according to the report. Is that what Intel's doing? Like, what plan are they bringing to Intel? What plan does Intel have? If you really want to see something funny, if you want to see something really hilarious, Gamers Nexus does a half an hour video basically talking about how Intel is in the death spiral. Right? The big haired guy, the big long haired guy. He's like, I'm not saying that Intel is in the death spiral, but if you look at death spirals and if you look at Intel, they kind of look alike, but I'm not saying that they're in the death spiral. It's like, oh, did Intel Legal talk to you, my friend? Anyways, so Intel is doing whatever the hell Intel is doing. And the curious thing with this is like, okay, so the government is going to take an equity stake. So it's not like, so a lot of times what the government does is they purchase things, they buy things. Right? The military always needs something. So, hey, we'll give you $30 billion to create these IC chips or whatever for the F-35. Right? So we're going to pay you 20 times as much as it should cost. And so you take the money to produce the chips, and then you take all that excess to make sure your other fabs or whatever get up to speed. Or there's loans. We give you this low interest loan. Again, the idea being, okay, you need to get your fab up and running. Basically, you get all this money, to build the fab. Once the fab's running, it should be printing money. So you pay us back. The interest on the loan is somewhere around the inflation rate or whatever else. So basically, it comes out to essentially a no-cost loan. Right? That's the kind of thing our government does quite a bit. To make sure these companies are going along. The Biden, the CHIPS Act. Eli, why don't you scream more about Biden? Because he's not president right now. I screamed a lot about Biden when he was president. Anyways, that was like the CHIPS Act. I don't know, there's like $50 billion in direct investment and $200 billion in God knows what investment. And that was supposed to support, chips being produced on American shores. Anyways, right, Intel has already taken a chunk of money, billions of dollars for this, and now they're laying off 40,000 employees over the past 2 years. So by the end of this year and last year, so if you take 2024 and 2025, you'll come out to about 40,000 layoffs after they took the money for the CHIPS Act. They're stopping fabs. They're stopping the production of fabs. There's this Ohio fab that they are kind of like pausing in the middle. Intel has just been failing for a decade at this point. They failed on 5G. They failed on a lot of different things. They failed on so many things. Like, I have to be careful what I say because I might screw up and say something they failed. Like, but they've just been failing across the board. And so one of the big questions that there is for Intel is just like, what the fuck's going on? They're talking about this with the next gen fabs, right? There's literally an issue right now. So they have their next gen fabs, but the problem is they might not actually have enough orders to even build the next gen fabs. So they come out with their next gen processor, however well that works, who the fuck knows. But anyways, there's so little confidence in the market that they may not have enough customers to produce chips for their next gen fab. So even though they've done all this work and the research and they put all of the resources into creating the next gen, that might get skipped fucking entirely because Intel has screwed the pooch so hard, nobody cares. Nobody wants to buy it. So anyways, we're now going to get into this world. Okay, so Intel has screwed the pooch so hard, right? Intel is in the world of Boeing, right? These are major, vital industrial vendors or whatever for the United States. And they are so fucked up, they literally might die. And now we have Trump come into this mess. Trump comes into this mess. And last week, he talks about the CEO, right? The CEO, Malaysian CEO. And he talks about the CEO and says, the CEO is compromised. He must be fired, right? He said that. Has to be fired basically immediately. Right? So however you feel about the CEO has a plan, right? CEO has a plan. Anyways, so he's coming in. He's trying to execute the plan. All of a sudden, Trump comes out of fucking nowhere and says the CEO needs to get fired. Then like 2 days later, right, it's Taco Trump, the first food stuff to leave the United States. And he's like, I met the CEO of Intel, and he has a great story. And so now Intel's okay. Now we get to a few days later, and Trump, wants his cut of the company. I mean, if I'm going to give you the freedom to be CEO of Intel, I mean, I should get my cut. And so now we get to this point where they literally want an equity stake in Intel. What the fuck happens to Intel when coked out, Bone Spur McGee, President of the United States, starts deciding he should have a direct say into what Intel does on a day-by-day basis? This is the world we are in. This is the stupidest of timelines. In July, Tan, CEO of Intel, said that Intel was canceling plans for manufacturing sites in Germany and Poland and would slow down development in Ohio, adding that spending at the chipmaker would be closely scrutinized. Under Trump, the U.S. government has increasingly moved to put itself at the center of deals in major industries. Under Trump, MAGA has gone pretty far Marxist. Last week, it said it would take a 15% cut of certain NVIDIA and AMD chip sales to China. Because if you want the freedom to sell to China, you gotta pay him for that. The Pentagon bought a $400 million equity stake in rare earth miner MP Materials and also took a golden share in U.S. Steel as part of a deal to allow Nippon Steel to buy the U.S. industrial giant. And so that is where we currently are. What this means, who knows? Who knows? Oh, I don't know. Do you come here for answers? Don't come here for answers. I'm just showing you the world as it is. I don't know what the hell is going on. So this appears to be happening, right? NVIDIA and AMD get a shakedown by Trump. Intel cuts off a chunk for Trump. And this is where our tech sector is, right? You got the tariffs going on. You have the mass disruptions in the economy going on. We are told that these industries, right, these are the most important things for the United States. If we do not win the war for AI, we die as a democracy or whatever else, right? You know, Trump going full Marxist. The U.S. president going full Marxist is not a danger to democracy. But if we lose the AI race, you know, he has to be Marxist so that we win the AI race and our democracy survives. I don't know. So yeah, this is a curious thing that is going on. Who knows where it will go at the end of the day? You know, we've seen so many things. 100% tariffs on chips, 100% tariffs on processors. If the company that's importing the processors is not a gazillion-dollar company and is not properly slobbered over the ring, right? Tim Cook went in, he groveled on his knees, he went in groveling on his knees, slobbering over Trump's ring, throwing money around. So apparently Apple can import chips without a 100% tariff. Other companies, right? If they're not the rich oligarchs willing to kowtow, they're going to get 100% tariffs. The other thing to be thinking about here, you know, why conflict of interest is a real thing, why the government should very rarely take ownership in companies. There's a whole thing with Obama and with the car manufacturers with the Great Recession. I didn't overly agree with that back in the day. But why you have to be careful about all this is because think about this. You have a guy that believes that he can put tariffs onto anybody for any reason, right? He is the tyrant of the United States. Don't you understand? He controls the United States. So he can put a tariff on anybody he wants. So the Trump administration takes an equity cut in Intel. Intel is going to flail because Intel's going to fucking flail. God knows what the hell Intel is. I can't get my head around the failure of Intel. It is so bad, right? Intel is a damn disaster. So the government and Trump administration takes a cut, an equity stake in Intel. Intel continues to fail because that's what Intel is going to do, right? We've seen this so many times in the tech world. I don't know how many times these large technology companies can take missteps, but it does seem to be a finite number. So it seems to be a finite number. Like there's just so, like I remember like with Research in Motion, right? They lost market share to Apple, you know, for the iPhone, and they're going to do something else. So it's like, okay, they lost market share to iPhone, so it was like a bit of a stumble. And then they went into something else. I forget, like they were doing like this open source operating system, and that didn't quite work out. So it was a bit more of a stumble. And then like their next stumble, they just fucking face planted. Nobody gives a shit about Research in Motion anymore. It's weird. I don't know what this is with tech companies. It's like this stumble. It's like Yahoo had a bit of a stumble. They blah. And at some point they just splat out. And so if you look at Intel is right. Intel is just I don't know. Intel is on roller skates. On a greased road, and you know, I don't know, it's vertigo or something, right? Like Intel's just gonna go splat. But here's the interesting question with the Trump administration. If we know that Intel is on a very bad course, and it's questionable whether they can change that course, whether they have the wherewithal to change that course. And then you have the Trump administration take a cut of the company. So they are now owners. If you take an equity stake, you are an owner of the company. So the Trump administration now quite literally owns the Intel problem. So the Trump administration owns the Intel problem. The Intel problem is headed towards the cliff, headed towards disaster, while their competitors are running on full cylinders. Competitors seem to be doing pretty goddamn good, to be frank with you. At what point does the Trump administration start trying to kneecap the competitors, right? The mafioso, the chief executive mafioso of the United States, has an equity stake in Intel. Intel is failing. At what point does mafioso of the United States start fucking kneecapping the other tech companies? And if you're like, oh, Eli, that's a bit extreme. You haven't been paying attention in the last 6 months. Yeah. We're still, oh my God, you know it's August? We have over 3 years of this. We have over 3 more years of this crap show. And the Republicans are still pissing on themselves. I am shocked. I am actually shocked about the Republicans. If I have any Republicans that are still watching, what the fuck are you people doing? I am literally shocked to the degree you have given the fuck up. Anyways, this is the world we're in. What do you think about this? What do you think about the Trump administration taking an equity stake in Intel? What do you think about Intel's continue routing to failure? As Gamers Nexus says, it appears it has many similarities to a death spiral. But what do you think about the Trump administration literally owning the Intel problem? What do you think is going to happen to the kneecaps of those other tech companies? What do you think? Put your thoughts down below. Yeah, I know I scream about this. I scream about this, and I yell about this, and I bitch about this. And I know for some people, like, oh, Eli, my ears can't handle this. But this shit's big. I wish in my heart of hearts, Honda launching a goddamn reusable rocket was actually more significant than this. But it's not. This shit is devastating. You cannot fight macro. You can't fucking fight macro. And when you have a senile piece of shit mafioso running this fucking country, it is gonna be fucking brutal. You know, I think about that with my grandfather. So my grandfather was of the Depression era generation. And we used to walk down the Ohio roads. And he'd show me chicory. Chicory. You know what chicory is? It's this fucking root. It's like this long, I don't know if it's a star, it's a long thing that goes up, a little flower on the top, then you pull it out, and you chop off, there's a root. And apparently, if you toast this root, it kind of sort of tastes like coffee. And they talked about during the Depression, they would go out in the fields and find chicory root, and they would roast it. And he put like 1 teaspoon of coffee to a whole bunch of fucking chicory. And that was how you woke up. Eli, the computer guy, is not going to do fucking well if I have to drink chicory in the morning. If you think this attitude is bad right now, if you're like, oh my God, look at what happened to Eli. What do you think is going to happen to me when I drink chicory in the morning? Oh, how was your fucking chicory this morning? What? My goddamn toasted root? How do you think my fucking toasted root soup was? It was fucking toasted root soup. My grandfather literally used to talk about using fucking sawdust as a goddamn flower extender. Oh, fuck. We can fall so far. I think that's the weird thing. Like, wherever we are in the world, we don't think we can fall so far. Well, you know, if things get really bad, you know, it might go back to like how it was in 2000. Yeah, no, it can go as far as using sawdust in your bread. Oh, that's pine. This is a good, very piney, this bread. Fuck. Anyways, what do you think about all this? If you like these videos, give us a thumbs up. Give us a thumbs down. Whatever. Say I'm amazing. Say I'm a dipshit. Doesn't matter. It's the modern world of YouTube. Fuck. It's not even the modern world of YouTube. It's the fucking modern world. The modern world. It's not about common fucking sense. It's not about building shit to make the world a better place. It's about interaction. Anyway. See y'all later.